giving of myself, giving my best, and realizing that my best is enough.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I'm enough. Whatever it was that I had to give, it's enough. And I've achieved excellence.
We've now decided that work is on one planet and life is on another planet. And I'm like, work is a part of your life. Work is a part of your life,
So you
right?
better balance it.
Welcome to the Balance to Excellence show. I'm Dr. Judy Wright. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with those you know, and let's get started. So today on the Balance to Excellence show, we have the honor of speaking with Dr. Alicia Thompson-Bennett. She's a board-certified family medicine physician, the founder of Miracles and Milestones, best-selling author, blogger, mentor, speaker, and transformational coach. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Okay. But beyond all of that, she's a wife and she's a mom who has turned her personal experiences into a mission to support and empower others. Dr. Bennett currently helps run a community-based employee clinic in Birmingham, Alabama, where she provides care that truly makes a difference in people's lives. And her journey hasn't been without its own challenges, but through faith, resilience, and purpose, she's used those experiences to inspire others. One of the most personal and powerful aspects of her work, and it's one that I've connected with her just through heart with, is Miracles and Milestones. And it's an initiative born out of her own experience as the mother of Langston, her son, who was born at just a gestational age of 23 weeks. Through this, she provides guidance, education, and support to parents raising children with special needs, helping them navigate the medical system and live fulfilling lives. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bennett.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So we just heard it all. I could step off the stage and probably let you take it, right? But you wear a lot of hats. You wear a lot of hats. You're a physician, you're an advocate, you're a coach, you're a speaker. You are a family woman to the heart. So how do you describe yourself when somebody says, Dr. Bennett, what do you do?
I do whatever needs to be done.
Ah,
That's
yes.
really what it is. I do whatever needs to be done. I do.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for this journey that I've been given. It's not always easy, but I'm grateful. I truly am. I've wanted to be a physician since I was 4 years old. There was nothing else I wanted to do. And then, that road was not easy by
Yeah.
any remote definition of the word. But now, 15 years later, I've been practicing medicine. I've gotten to do the career that I love. But more than anything, like you say, my family is everything to me. I love the ministry of medicine, absolutely adore the ministry of medicine, but it compares nothing to this ministry that God has given me as Antonio's wife and these babies' mama. Like that
Yeah.
is that's mine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
And
So
you
grateful.
talked about the ministry of being a wife and a mom and the ministry of being a physician who's and a community physician at that. And I know that you're a PK. How did that fold into what it is you do?
I feel like all of this was ordained from the beginning. It just was, and my falling in love with medicine and having a pediatrician who poured into that
Mm.
allowed me my brother was my guinea pig. Okay. He let me listen to his heart and look in his ears and look, come here, let me show you how to do this. I loved it. I was that kid that loved going to the doctor because I knew I was going to do something exciting and I was going to learn something. So he poured so much into me, but just in growing and through my late father and his ministry, I learned that what I wanted to do as a physician was so much bigger than me. It was just so much bigger than me. And throughout the years, that's become more and more apparent.
Yes.
We know the history of medicine and people of African descent. We know that there is not a whole lot of trust in that, and for good reason. I can't deny that. I get it. But
yes.
I get it. I do. And that's what I tell my patients. Like, I get it. I feel you. I second guess some things too, but I'm grateful and truly believe that I was put in this position to be able to minister to my people, to all people, but and to more so be able to, they see someone who looks like them, who they can believe has their best interest, in mind, and I'm able to bless them in that way. That's
Yes.
why I look at it as ministry,
Yes.
because I've been through it. You know what I mean? I had a Black father, and I have a Black brother, and I have, I had grandparents and cousins and what have you, and we've dealt with the disparities in the health system. Even myself as a physician have had to
Hmm.
advocate, like, no, this is what's
Hmm.
going to happen here. You spoke about my son being in the NICU. He was in the NICU for 152 days. My baby was there. And there were plenty of times that I had to advocate for him even
Yeah.
then. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
First of all, I am happy to be part of the weird club of children who like to go to the doctor, because that was me. Everybody's like, what do you mean? Like, I used to love as a
Loved
child
it.
to go to
Could
the
not wait.
doctor's office.
Yes. Please
Everybody
check
else
me
don't
out
want
of
to go
school.
because that means shots. Not me. I wanted to go. I wanted to interact with the doctor, the nurses. I loved
Hmm.
it. So thank you
Hmm.
for allowing me to be part of your club
Yes. Yes. Because I'm
where
like,
I don't
okay,
have to
yeah.
feel
I
like a
mean,
weirdo.
we're gonna get some shots, but then after that, it's
Right?
it should be fine.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that I love so much that you were talking about is being in the community and having someone that looks like the community, right?
Yeah.
Because so I was a sociology major
Hmm.
in college, and I
Hmm.
didn't expect to be a sociology major. I took a sociology class and fell in love with it. But I
Yeah.
still knew I was going to medical school. That was
Hmm.
always,
Hmm. Hmm.
but what it became for me as I took more classes was really understanding community and group.
Hmm.
And even when I was writing papers and stuff, I would talk about the trust factor and building trust in the community, in the medical community. Having people that look like you matter because you
It
need to
matters.
build that trust. There was so much that happened in the medical community, particularly in the Black communities, that you need to
Absolutely.
be able to rebuild that trust. Of course, I wrote these things, and then these sociology professors were trying to convince me to go to grad school for sociology. This is not
Yes.
happening. I'm going to med school.
Like, no, 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 no. That was never the thing. We're going to med school. Yes.
That was
Yeah.
never the plan. But thank you, thank you for. So I love hearing um, that not only that you understand that, but that you live that.
Yeah.
That's really, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And it's so important, like that. I'm always trying to make certain that it's clear that I'm living in this community just like you. I'm a part of this community just like you. I pour into it. I live, work, and worship here because I'm like you. You just work there and I work here. Like, we just have different jobs. We have different ministries. This is your thing and then this happens to be mine, but we're all humans and we're living this very similar experience. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I can relate to you.
Now tell me about that first time. Not that I ever asked you about this, but I know it's happened. Tell me about that first time you may have been at the supermarket or wherever shopping, and out the blue you heard Dr. Tennyson. Tell me
Look,
about that first time, because I know the
I
first time it happened
expect
to me.
it.
First few times it threw me for a loop.
You know what? I have grown to expect it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just literally yesterday I said, oh, I'm gonna run in Aldi because I have a plant problem. I have a small plant problem. I'm working through it. It's fine. It's small, but we're working through it. And I saw this plant stand, and I was like, somebody posted it. I'm like, let me go see if they have it. I go in there. I'm on the phone, on a business call, but I'm trying to like grab my planter, and I hear, but I'm on the phone, so I'm trying to like, hey, no, she didn't care nothing about that. Okay, she's like, because I don't know, I know I haven't mentioned, but I left my practice of 10 years, and I'm now in a nut. So up until last June, I practiced for 10 years at the hospital at which I was born, and it was a total full circle thing. It was the hospital where I learned from my mentor, from my
Yes.
pediatrician. His office was just one floor up from where my office was. The office where my grandmother cleaned the doctor's lounge is where I practiced for 10 years. Okay. So until June, that's where I practiced until I moved out into the community to a different community clinic. So this patient is like, "Where you at?" And that's what she said to me.
This was from your previous practice.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not there anymore." Well, where are you? I mean, I need to find a doctor. And I'm like, okay, phone against my ear. I'm like, a minute, you know, but yeah. And so this is often that this happens. There is not a chance that I'm going to go to the Walmart, to the Aldi, the Lowe's, to wherever, and I'm not going to run into one of my patients. After 10 years of practice, they are there and I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I do. It doesn't bother me. Now, sometimes it's like, you know, you want to show me your rash while I'm trying to pick out produce, then, you know, it might be like, okay, can we do this later? But ultimately,
Wait, so HIPAA,
no, I don't care nothing about HIPAA. What HIPAA? They're like, nah, did you get that? So I'm like, yeah, but I can't say I know them off the top of my head. You know, I got yours and about 25 other people's. But
but
I'm always grateful to see them, always grateful to be integrated into the community with them.
yeah.
They're excited to introduce me to their cousin or whoever is with them. This is my doctor. This is my doctor. And I'm excited to see them. So it's not a bad thing. It's just I mean, you know, like I said, after all this time, I'm ready. I'm just like, I know it's going to happen. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, the first few times it happened to me, I was taken aback because I'm just. It also taught me that I at least need to look. I at least needed to look at my work best because I
yes,
didn't know who was going to see me out in the
yes.
community.
I mean, if I was that person to go out in a bonnet, like that stopped. You know what I mean? Like I was never that person, but I definitely can't be that person now. Like, no, because it's going to happen. It
Yes,
does not matter where
yes,
I
it's
go
going to happen.
in the department store. And it's like, what always trips me out is when they're like surprised to see me there. Like I don't shop. You know, they're like, what you
Like,
doing?
wait, no, because of
I'm
course you don't
saying,
shop. You have a driver, have a cook, you have someone that does your shopping for you. Of course you don't shop. What
I
would
wish
you
they would
be
contact
doing
me and do
in
this
the
stuff for
Aldi?
me
Oh my goodness, I
all
love
the
it. I
time.
love
Like, what
it.
are you
But yeah,
doing?
it's the beauty of working in the community. It
I
is.
love
It
it.
is the beauty of working in the community. And then you see people and years later when my youngest runs, we're like in the ShopRite
Hmm?
parking lot and I heard her scream out something and then she went running. And I'm like, what's happening? She saw one of her teachers that
Uh-huh.
she hadn't seen in two
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
And so she went running and she hugged her and I was like, yeah, I know what that's like.
That's what that's like, you know. You know, it just is what it is. And you know, I've grown to expect it. And now currently, you know, working for the city of Birmingham, oftentimes I am at events. And so I know that I'm going to see
Mm,
my patients. You know, we're
yeah,
at events and what have you, but I love that. And 99% of the time, they are very respectful. They're excited to see me, but never intrusive or,
yes,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? For the most part, it's not like that. And so I'm like, you know, I love it. I do.
And even the ones that's a little intrusive, they don't mean nothing, no harm by it.
So
They
it's
don't
just
mean any
like,
harm by it.
while they're like, well, I
They
got
trust
you,
you that much that they're like, I want to talk to you.
you know, and so I don't get angry. I really don't. I'm grateful that I've been, you know, that you even chose me as your physician, that you have that trust in me, that you have that respect for me. I'm like, we're good. We're
Yes, absolutely. So your work with Miracles and Milestones, that's
mhm.
deeply personal. So can you
Yes.
share a bit about that journey and how your son's birth shaped your mission
Oh wow.
and led you to create this?
So, you know, so many times, like, we don't really realize the importance of things until we live it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't, you know, you feel like people are insensitive or that they're uncaring or that they're whatever. It's just that they don't know, they're ignorant to it. And
Yes.
that's not to say that in a derogatory way. It's just that it is. Some things you have to experience.
Yes.
And when Langston was born, you know, everything was okay. Before, you know, during my pregnancy, everything was great until it wasn't. And then
Mm,
all of a sudden, I was 22 weeks and 6 days pregnant and my water broke. And
I'm sorry.
so it's like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It's not. And so then finally, you know, a few days later, he decided to make his debut. He has always done exactly what he wants to do. I have relinquished control here because clearly it's just not happening. Langston Miles has done what he is going to do whenever he's going to do it. And
Yes.
so during that process, I went back to work when he was 2 weeks old, um, because my thought process was I need to save my time for when he comes home. I couldn't allow myself to think of him not coming home. That wasn't an option for me. My brain was not able to wrap around that. He had a 10 to 15% chance of survival, but I was not hearing it. I was like, nope, okay. When he comes home, I need to have the time that I can take my maternity leave then and be home with my baby. So I
Yes.
did come back at 2 weeks, but that made for a difficult situation. It did. I mean, there was so much going on. I'm managing, seeing patients, and like I said, he was there for 152 days. And every day I was there, with the exception of one day.
Was that the same hospital or was it a different hospital?
Different hospital.
Okay.
Different hospital. And every day I went to see my baby. It was one day that I didn't, and that's because I had a fever. I had a fever. I'd seen him the day before. I spiked a fever that day, could not go to see my baby, and I thought I would die. I did. I told my mama, I said, no, you got to go lay eyes on my baby. He'll be looking for me. So she went to see him and FaceTime me so that I could talk to my baby. So that was the only day that I did not. I waited till I was 24 hours fever free. I double masked and I went back up there with my baby. I was like, I gotta go. I went to the urgent care. I'm like, check all the stuff. Check what you can check. Because if I'm fever free, I'm headed back up there. So during that time, though, that meant managing patients, trying to keep some semblance of taking care of my home. I was a single parent at that time and making sure that I see my baby and pumping because I was breastfeeding. He was way too tiny to nurse. So pumping was the only option. I was doing that exclusively. And so all of that was going on. What prompted me through the Miracles and Milestones, the birth of Miracles and Milestones came because my thing was the working NICU mom. That's not the same. It's not the same. I did not, as a physician, I did not relate to a lot of the other moms. We were at different places. I did not have the blessing of being oblivious to what was going on.
That's right.
I knew what every lab meant. I knew what every blip on the monitor meant. I meant every vital, every number, every whatever. So I didn't have that privilege.
Right.
I
And you
also
knew
did not.
and you knew what questions to ask if you didn't.
Yes, I knew all the questions to
You
ask.
knew all the questions to ask.
And it was just, then there was the aspect of, I didn't get to hang out with you guys while you scrapbooked and had the meditation class and the whatever, because I was at work. I didn't have that opportunity to work.
Right now. You
You
are
know,
talking.
I couldn't work through those emotions. I couldn't do those things. And it's not that that there was an issue with them or that I'm glad that they were able to do that, but that was not my story. So because that was not my story, I was like, well, what about us? Everybody is gone by the time I get off work. I gotta try to meet with the doctor if I can, but I can't meet the social workers. I can't meet with his therapist. They're gone. Everybody's gone. I just can read the little note that they leave at the end of the day. And I remember feeling so like, okay, well, this is what it is. That is where Miracles and Milestones came from. Like, how do we provide that support for those mothers? That's not always the option. I can't take off. I cannot live at the hospital. I can't do that, because it was my job that paid the mortgage where Langston was going to come home to, and that covered the insurance that was paying for the NICU. So that wasn't the option.
Yeah.
So that's where Miracles and Milestones started. It started as support for the NICU parent. And then as time progressed and things changed, Langston was diagnosed autistic. And there were other things that came along with that NICU stay and him being a 23-weeker and having some special needs. We were very, very fortunate in that my baby he did not have to see any specialists. We didn't have cardiac issues or kidney issues we didn't have those things, but he came home on oxygen. So, we had to do that for 9 months. We were learning how to navigate those things. So I said, what do we do to support these moms? Because these moms included me. I had lived it.
Yes. And you come to a realization when you're an advocate, when you're in advocacy work, right? You come to this realization that, even if it's for your son or your parents, you realize they have you who have all this knowledge. What about the people who do not have all this knowledge?
Yes.
And what about those who may not have a particular support system? And what about those you start to come to, as you started off saying, so well, until you go through something like that,
you have no idea.
You have no idea. You
And
have
then
no idea.
I even know that I'm blessed that I'm not the quote unquote average person.
Mhm.
When my son got his diagnosis, first of all, I diagnosed him myself many, many months before his actual diagnosis. We had to wait 8 months before there was his official evaluation and
Yes.
diagnosis. When we got the official diagnosis, I remember leaving there trying to hold it together. And the furthest I got was to the Trader Joe's parking lot. And I lost it. I had to pull over. I was so overwhelmed. I knew I diagnosed him, but hearing the words was like, okay, that makes it official. And that's where the grieving process was, because every mother, from the time that you see those two lines on that pregnancy test, or you see pregnant or what have you, you have dreams,
You have
even
dreams.
probably
You
before
have a
then,
vision.
even before then, of what your children will be and what you have. So that
You have dreams. Like that is serious. Like and it's not something you necessarily do on purpose. It's just
no, it just happens,
their life starts to flash right in front of you of what it's going
and
to
you're ready.
look like. Once they were able to show me on the ultrasound that he had 5 fingers, because we had polydactyly in my family. That he
Mhm.
had that his limbs were all there and his fingers were all there, his toes were all there. I was like, oh, look at that cute little nose. You have visions. And so I love that you said that, because I did the same thing. Like, I knew at 15 months, something is not.
Something
And
is
they
off. Yeah.
actually, when he did get evaluated a little after 2, they actually ruled it out. So at 5,
Wow.
when another doctor said, let's go for a second opinion,
Let's do this again. Yeah.
let's do this again. And they said it. And I actually cried in the office. And the psychologist said, no offense, I just want to know, you didn't think? I said, no, I absolutely thought that. I thought
Mhm.
that 3 good years ago.
But now
All right.
you said it though, and this makes it official. It's the official part of it.
It is the official part of it.
It changed everything for me, that official part of it. And I remember bawling, and I just said, I can't do this. What is happening? I called my mother, and because I was taking him to her, she kept him for me. So I was taking him to her so I could go back to work. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to work this afternoon, da da da. I'm like, nah, I can't come. I text my staff, can't come to work. I don't know. I can't do anything. Cancel the patients. Do whatever you got to do. I'm a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And about 30 minutes later, I was like, all right, what are we about to do? I don't have time for this. I don't have time to wallow. I don't have time to, because I'm this boy's mama. I'm his advocate. I'm his person. So what do I do? Okay, I took a minute to feel, oh, now what do I do? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So helpless, so
Yeah.
clueless. I mean, of course, the psychologist had recommended that he do ABA. And I'm like, okay, thank you. You gave me this paper. You gave me his whole evaluation with your recommendations. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
It's the now what that throws parents.
It is.
And I sat there and I said, I'm sitting here, a whole physician. I don't know the answer to the now what, but guess what? I don't know. Okay, let's start calling people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that simple.
Mm.
Because you call them and they're like, okay, we'll put you on the wait list. Oh, wait, it's a wait list? The lady said he really needed. They're like, okay, that's cute. Oh, but we don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
He goes on the wait list. I'm like, okay, fine. He's on the wait list. Then I find out my insurance does not even have coverage.
For ABA? Yeah, a lot of
So
them
I'm
do.
like, what do you mean I don't have coverage? But he's autistic. The lady just said it. She said he needs it. They're like, yeah, that's not how this works. So that class was not in medical school. They didn't cover that. And so I'm like, all right, so what do we do? I'm like, so fix it. I put it on
Yeah,
there. What do we?
make it happen, because they said he needs it. Make
The
it
people
happen.
said he needs it. So, and then you call the therapy centers, and they're like, yeah, our wait list right now is we're about a year out. And I'm like, what
Man,
am I supposed to do in this year?
man.
Okay, so for me, I got people I can reach out to. I have a community, a network of other physicians that I can reach out to. I know that I have that. The average person does not.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to reach out like, okay, now what? Because I don't have the answer to the now what. So I reach out to them and they're like, I have a network of developmental pediatricians or to help me, but it still was nothing to do because you're on the wait list and you don't have coverage anyway. So then I say, well, I went to school all this time. I put the work in to get the money. I'll just pay for it. How much does this cost? When I tell you, they didn't wait. I mean, didn't even hesitate to tell me like $4,000 a month for the minimum. Here I go. I'm sorry. What happened? I said, oh, well, okay. I mean, I'm a doctor, but I ain't like a
Good
doctor.
child. Yeah.
I'm family medicine. Like I don't know what you heard about that. Like what is going on? So it was so much and so much work that I had to do in doing the research and doing the digging and the fighting and the advocacy and all of the stuff that Miracles and Milestones, and then branching into the multifaceted mama doc on my social media and my coaching program. The whole purpose of that was because I've done the work. Let me
Mm,
help you.
mm.
One of those people that feel like because I
And I didn't
struggle,
glide through
everybody
it
should have.
either, right? You didn't glide through it.
No,
You hit obstacles,
all the
right?
obstacles.
You hit
Meeting with
obstacles.
the
Please do
met
not
with the
think that because there's a doctor before
CEOs.
my name, there's an MD or a DO. Please don't believe that I
Mm-mm.
didn't hit obstacles. I hit obstacles.
Every
I
single
love
obstacle.
that you said that because a few years ago I did a podcast with two nurses, and the reason we did this podcast was about helping people navigate this here healthcare system in this here country that we got, just understanding a bill, understanding, your EOB, just, navigating through. And the reason we did is because we found ourselves talking to each other on the phone on a regular basis about the things that we were hitting, and we were in the system. We were part of the system and we were hitting it, and it took work to get stuff for the people we were advocating for, our family members, and we would eventually get around it, but not without some
Work.
bruises.
Yes.
And,
So I'm
not
like,
not
what
without
about
some
the
bruises.
other people? That's all I kept thinking. It's like, well, what do they do?
Right.
So I said, well, this is where I come in then. I guess this is just that. I'm a helper. It's what I do. I'm a fixer. I fix
Mhm.
things. Okay, so how do I fix this? I did not want people feeling the way that I felt and without the resources that I had.
And without somebody to talk to that understood
Yes,
it.
just the community, just having that
Yeah.
support, having that someone to validate your feelings.
Yeah.
That's so important. It's so important. And like I said, I'm not one of those people that's one like, well, I struggled and everybody should have to struggle too. No, I'm not. Nope. Nope. That's not me. Because I struggled, then you don't have to. That's just how I feel
Right.
about it.
Let me help guide you.
Right.
Okay. Let me help guide you, not lead you, because we're a
Mm-hmm.
team. Let me
Mm-hmm.
help guide you
Mm-hmm.
through these here piranha infested waters.
Yes. Yes. It's gonna be and it's a struggle. Like it's just so many things
Yes.
that I learned along the way from navigating the medical, system, the educational system, the
Mm.
navigating and how do I not lose myself in the midst of all of these things?
Hmm.
Because I found myself a few years ago taking care of everybody except me. Everybody.
Let me tell you something. Dr. Alicia out here segueing for me, because we're going to talk about it. Dr. Alicia, we're going to talk about it. See, because you are a doctor, you're a business owner, you're a wife, you're a mother, and you're advocating not just for your patients, not just for your community. You are advocating every day
Mm-hmm.
for your family, for your son,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
for your husband, for your other children. You are out here advocating, so it is so easy for us as women
Mm-hmm.
and as women physicians to put ourselves on that back burner,
Yeah.
right?
I don't even think I was on the stove.
You
Like
know,
I don't even know. I feel like I was still like under the cabinet, like and I never realized it, and honestly, truthfully, my husband helped me realize that when I met him.
yes.
He was so intentional about taking care of me and
Mm,
about encouraging me to take care of me.
yes.
And he would say things and I'm like, Well, I never thought, I don't know. I just go to bed when he goes to bed. I
Right,
don't
right, right. I never
Right,
thought about,
activities. What do you mean
yeah,
activities? And that helped me immensely just in saying like, okay, in learning that it was okay for me that the whole world was not going to fall apart if I did something for me.
imagine that.
The whole world was not going to fall apart. The patients would be okay. The kid would be okay. I was trying to take care of everybody. What I didn't mention is the day after my baby was diagnosed with autism, my father was diagnosed with cancer, one day apart.
Yeah,
So my world flipped multiple times. It was just flipping. I was a daddy's girl to the 1 millionth power. My whole world was crumbling very, very quickly. And I went, immediately into fix it mode. Immediately. Like, let's go. And,
yeah,
and so my whole program is in teaching these parents to go from distraught to determined. Thing
yeah.
was, I went too determined. I took it too far, which I tend to do at times. And I
Because what did you
completely,
say? I
I took
fix
it too,
things. I
I
fix
fixed it.
things.
So I'm about to fix this stuff. We have to fix all of this stuff, all the stuff. Okay. And I took it too far. Everything was my baby, my daddy, my patients, my baby, my daddy, my patients, and repeat.
I didn't hear
Mm-mm.
Dr. Alicia up in there. I did not hear Dr. Alicia in
Shoot, I wasn't even considering me. I was just doing what it is that I do, which is whatever needs to be done. So just as the time passed and in learning to get rid of those behaviors that were killing me, I said, no, I can't keep this to myself. I can't. I can't keep this to myself.
there.
That would
Yeah.
be unjust for me to do that.
So you said your husband was like, was there a point that you hit a wall? Because I know you said your husband started to let you see it differently,
Mm-hmm.
that it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
You should be taken care of too. And I can just imagine, the difficulty. You're a mom,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're a mom now, and you have to take care, and you take that seriously. Take care
Mm-hmm.
of Langston.
Mm-hmm.
But your safe space was daddy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, wait a minute, because here's where I get to be the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you telling me right now?
Right.
So then you decided, I'm going to fix this. Was there ever a time that you hit a wall?
See it. Like I said, I was a single parent. I was still involved with my son's father at that time, but it was not a healthy situation.
Okay.
It just wasn't. It wasn't, and the support wasn't there. Oh, I'm trying to take care of everybody, but
Mhm.
nobody is taking care of me. And that's not saying, my parents have always been there, but mom was having to take care of daddy.
Yes. Yes.
And she did an amazing job at doing that, and there was no time for me to interject myself for that. It's like, no, I still need to help take care of mama and help take care of daddy. And I need to take
Mhm.
care of Langston and I need to take care of these patients because I still have to make this money. I have to pay these bills. All
Yeah.
of this stuff has to happen. So I think I did hit a wall after I was just overwhelmed. It was so much stuff coming at me at one time. And then when I finally made that decision to end that relationship, it was just a lot of different things, a lot of different emotions, a lot of baggage that kind of went along with that. And then I had a friend who was sort of, ministering to me and that was helpful. And then I met my husband. And that was a whole new experience for me.
Yeah.
He was a whole different type of a human being, a whole different type
Mhm.
of man. I didn't know how to handle that at first. I didn't. It was kind of like, what he want? Like, I don't know. Like, he too nice. I don't know if this is a thing. I was really
Yeah. Yeah.
now initially I never told him what I did for a living because, you have to think about those things.
You do.
You don't want to be preyed
You do.
upon.
You absolutely do. I know exactly what you mean.
So I'm just like, oh, I'm in healthcare. Healthcare. Okay. And it never mattered. Like we talked and we would talk and talk and I used to call him my fake boyfriend because there was nothing official. But I'm like, I do everything with this guy. Like I have to him. I have to talk to him on my breaks. I have to talk to him on the way to work and on the way home from work. And it was just like, but why? Why am I talking? Like, I don't do this. Like, what is going on? And then my fake boyfriend became my real boyfriend, and then my real boyfriend became my fiance, and then my husband. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we allow ourselves some space,
Mm-hmm.
we can see more clearly, and we can
Ooh.
allow that to come in. We can allow space
Yeah.
for that because we allow space for ourselves.
Yes. And that was literally it, is that I was learning me and I was nurturing me,
Mm-hmm.
myself, to be able to allow someone else to do that. It was. And that became a thing. And now, even now, some years later, he encourages me to take time for me,
Yes.
encourages me to take care of me.
Yes.
And I've learned the importance of that.
Now, through the time, because I mean, I follow you. So through the time,
Mhm.
you've changed how you work as
Yeah.
well. You've changed how your schedule looks as well. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I needed balance. There was no balance. I realized that when I built this house, that I have done nothing but, sleep in it. Like, I don't live
Mm,
here. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't
yeah.
enjoy my house. There were so many things I had bought, just even like decor items that I haven't even taken the time to set out. Just simple stuff,
Mm.
because I'm just going, going,
Because you're
going,
just going.
going. It was insane. And I felt myself just burning out. I felt every single day I would sit in the parking lot at work and have to convince myself to get out of the car. The career that I had loved, that I prayed for, I didn't enjoy doing it anymore. I'm like, I love these people. I love my patients like my own family. Some of them I love more than my own family. We're going to be honest about it. Like, I mean, right? So, but I don't want to get out the car every day. I'm just sitting
Yeah.
out in the parking lot. Like, and
Yes,
then I
ma'am.
went in there and I was grieving because after, in 2021, I did lose my father. And that was the hardest thing that I've ever dealt with.
So
Um,
sorry.
so in the middle of grief, that nobody really gave me time to grieve. It's time to come back to work. Like, you get 3 days. And so if you want to use some vacation, that's fine. But I even had patients saying, well, when is she gonna be done dealing with this with her dad?
I'm sorry. Did my eyes just go wide? What?
I said, who said that? I was burnt out. I'm exhausted. I have gone nonstop. I've dealt with aging parents, my child, a traumatic breakup, which then, transitioned into a new relationship and all of these things. So my husband and I got married in 2021. Like, we don't even have to talk about the fact that there was the pandemic in the middle of all of this, but I don't have the mental capacity to even deal with that part. But
Yes.
and I got married, and my dad declined pretty significantly, those next several months. And then that November, he passed away.
Yes.
So I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I'm getting older. I'm having my own medical stuff. And some of it is,
Mhm.
is linked to my mental health.
Yes.
Um, and grief and all of those things. And I went to my job and I told them, I was like, something has to change. I got to breathe. Like, I don't have a moment. Because what people don't understand, when you have a child with special needs, you have a autistic child, and mine, who also has sensory processing disorder, is most definitely a sensory seeker with every bit of the definition of sensory seeker. Okay. Wide
Hmm.
open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weekends are not a break.
No.
Now, I'm
No.
off on weekends, but no, I'm never off. I leave one job and then I drove 8 minutes home to start the other job.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted. And I kept saying to them, there's no time for me. I have to go to the doctor on my lunch break. She makes an appointment for me. Thankfully, my PCP understood, and she would create a slot for me just to come every few months, on my lunch break, because I'm taking care of everybody else. I have to
Yes.
save my vacation time because Langston has appointments. There wasn't the option of FMLA. There's not all of these things that I'm like, I can't. And they looked at me and they said, well, if you could increase your patient though. I said, wait, what?
What am I
He said,
missing? Because that sounds like we're going in the wrong direction. What am I missing?
right. And this was the second conversation. The first conversation was a week before Daddy passed, that I said, I'm going to have to do something because I know that I'm going to break. I know that my dad is dying. I don't know when. He had already been placed on hospice, but I know when that happens, I don't even know what I'm going to do. They said to me, well, listen, you're going to have to take some things off your plate. Well, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I called this meeting. So basically, they're like, some other things, not this, other stuff.
Oh, so you're gonna have to take some things off your plate on the personal side, but here
Right. Because over here, we're not taking nothing off over here.
we're not taking anything. Got it.
Then come back and meet with me in 2 weeks on what you think that you can, delegate better and do. Okay. So I left the meeting and I'm like,
Okay.
whatever. Okay. So I'm supposed to go back and meet with them. Well, I met with them on Tuesday. Daddy died the next Monday.
Mm.
At that point, I didn't know if I was coming or going. Never went back and met with them. They didn't try to come back and meet with me, and I ain't think about it. So life passes, you know. I really don't remember any of 2022. It was just a blur. And you know, I went to work and did the things and somewhat survived. And then it was like, wait, we never had that meeting. Had that meeting. I am still losing it. So I have another meeting, and that's when I said, okay, so I have no time for me. I can't do anything. All of my time I'm here, and when I'm home, he's there. So that means I'm working constantly. They said, well, you know, if you improve, you increase your patient numbers, and I left there, and I was like, okay. And I told myself, yeah, they're saying that we need to increase my numbers if I want to increase my pay, and if I want to have. So it took me a couple of weeks, and it hit me, and I said, wait a minute. They didn't give me nothing I asked for. Actually,
Nothing.
you told me to.
Not one thing. You said you went in and said, I'm doing too much. AKA, I need to do less. And they said, so if you do more, right?
Man, that's it. And I was like, wait, what just happened? What? Okay. And I said, Lord, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but you're gonna have to be explicit. I don't read between the lines real well. Like, I need you to just like, what am
Yeah.
I doing? What are we doing? Because this ain't it. I'm not going to make it if I continue like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when I knew like something has to change. And
Mm-hmm.
then the job offer started coming.
You said be explicit.
I said, wait.
You said be clear, Lord. That's what you said.
I said, okay, wait, that's not, okay, no, I want to stay here. I love these people. I love this community. I love my patients. I don't want to. He said, did you not hear what I said? Did I give you any opportunity here? So I got 3 job offers
Mm-hmm.
in 3 weeks. I applied to none of them. There wasn't a single application. And I was like, okay, Lord. Okay. So I have to leave here. That is not what I wanted to hear, because that's not what I wanted to do. And I thought back to when I was applying to medical school and I got into this program at Lake Erie. I graduated from LECOM in Erie, Pennsylvania, 700 miles away from home. And I remember I was like, I ain't going up there. It snows up there. Y'all know it snow up there? Like all the time snow.
Yeah, it snows in the Northeast in our neck of the woods. Yes, it does.
I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And I remember having a conversation with my granny. I was a granny's girl, okay? My daddy's mama. Actually, I was spoiled rotten by all of them. You know, I had the best set of grandparents like on the planet, okay? Like they thought the sun rose when I got up in the morning, and I thought the same when they got up, you know. But I had a special relationship with my granny, and I was talking to granny about it, and she told me, she said, you know what? You can't stay in one place and go anywhere.
Have something to throw down. I don't have something.
Like, so I should just knew I was not gonna want your baby to be in Pennsylvania. Okay. And she's like, this is your dream. Okay. So I moved to Pennsylvania, and that dream was realized. And as this process was going on, those words popped in my mind again.
Yes.
All those years later, this
We
conversation with Granny.
can always pull back. You know, what are the lessons you've learned and now you have to continue to apply?
This was in 2005 when Granny said this to me. Granny's been gone since 2007. She passed away while I was in medical school. These were all these years later. I said, okay, well, this is what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I prayed and I accepted the opportunity that I felt was best for me. When I was asked, you know, what is it that you need? And I told them, and what they countered with was more than what I asked for.
And what you asked for.
And I'm thinking to myself, I would have stayed where I was for much less than this. They ain't give me nothing. But if it's much less than this, I would have been right there.
And sometimes that's why you need to move figuratively
You have
and
to.
literally. Sometimes that you have to expand your horizons to see what can be.
Yes.
Right?
What's
Because when
willing
we
to
stay
be
here,
given
we
to
don't
you.
know what can be.
And we see that in every relationship of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes you're not getting more because you're not demanding more. People will do what you let them do.
Yeah.
So now there's the balance. There is I feel human again.
Well, what does that look like to you? What does the balance look like for Dr. Thompson-Bennett? What does it look like for you?
I work for an employer who encourages me to do things for myself, that encourages self-care for all of us. She models it. She models self-care.
I love that.
Oh, shout out to Dr. Cree. She models self-care and she encourages us to do that. Oh, her staff, her patients, whatever. So for me, it's encouraged. I work in person 3 days a week and virtually 2 days a week.
And how's that different from previously, how you were working?
Oh, I was in person 5 days a week.
Okay.
It was a half day on Friday, but that half day was never a half day.
No, it's not.
Once you get there, once you get there, you're there.
You are there. That is as false as protected time. Once you there, you there.
Sober. Okay. So yeah. So now I have that time to breathe. I have that time to celebrate me. And I have someone who encourages me to celebrate me. When I say, oh, I went to get a massage today, she's like, yeah, that's good, or that says, you know what, I went to this Pilates class. You should sign up for this. And I'm like, and I will.
You know what? You know what?
That's a great idea. So it changes your mindset and
Yes.
it's created that drive for me to do those things that pour into me. Because as much as I love medicine, medicine is not my life.
Mm.
And sometimes, for some people that is, and that's fine, but that's not my life. There's other things that make up the multifaceted mama doc. I am multifaceted.
You are multifaceted. And I love that you said that, because one of the things that I talk to, and I talk to a lot of medical people, and I hold these workshops, and I tell them the same thing. I personally don't like the term work-life balance, because it's like we've now decided that work is on one planet and life is on another planet. And I'm like,
Mm-mm.
work is a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Work is a part
Mm-hmm.
of your life,
So you
right?
better balance it.
And so you need to balance it out. That looks different for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but treat it as what it is, not bigger than what it is. A lot of us will treat it as bigger than what it is. For exactly some part of it is some of the same things you said. I make the lion's share of the money. I have to keep this roof over my head. I got to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the medical is covered. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it blows it up to make
Yes,
it seem like it's its own entity. No, it's just a part
it's a part of it. And
of your life.
it's so many other parts of my life, so many other things that pour into me. And I'm able to do those things. That I'm able to pour into them as they pour into me. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful. Advocacy is one of those things. I'm now a participant in the Partners for Policy Making for Alabama. And I'm able to learn like how to talk to the senators, how to make the changes, how to speak up, how to do the things, the
Yeah.
advocacy, like on another level. I'm grateful because I feel like I actually stop and breathe for a minute.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
morning, I was able to lie in bed with my husband without Langston because he was gone to school. Because that doesn't happen if he's at home, that's not. So I got Langston on the bus and I was able to lie in the bed and talk to my husband, go over some things that we want to do, that we plan to do. I
Make
drank a
plans.
relaxing
Make plans.
have a relaxing cup of coffee, not in my travel mug,
I
not
love
while
it.
I
I love
drove.
you. Like, let me tell you how this looks when you're relaxed. It's in a regular mug. You're actually just taking time, having a conversation leisurely. Imagine that. Reading a book just because.
To the podcast now and just like and it's not medical, it's not it, it's just what I wanted to listen to. This morning I saw patients virtually already. This morning I did that in my moo/house dress, saw them, provided quality care. Yeah, that's what life looks like for me now.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you now have a boss or manager who encourages that, because we need that kind of buy-in,
Yeah.
where I truly believe that if you have well healthcare professionals, then the community will be well,
Yes.
right? What is the shadow that we're casting? So we
I
want them
feel
to be
like
well.
it
We need
makes
to
a
be well.
difference. And our clinic is called Be Well.
Now, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. You did not know that. I did not tell you
Oh
that.
yeah.
I did not tell you that. And I know I didn't tell you that. So that it helps them to see me take care of myself.
Yes.
It helps them to see me out at events and enjoying life and doing things regular people do because I am regular people.
Out here in the community with you. I'm regular.
Yeah, I'm at Food Truck Fridays too. What you get? You know, like, which truck did you go to? It's a blessing. I'm grateful.
That is so good. That is so good. So I have a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. Before we do that, if you're still here with us, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, please like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We have good stuff here. You can go back and look at previous, look at or listen to previous episodes because we are on YouTube and we are on Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to your podcast. So thank you so much. All right, Dr. Thompson-Bennett, here it is. I'm going to ask you these last two questions, okay? One, for parents raising children with special needs, what's one piece of advice you give them?
Don't lose yourself.
Mm.
A healthy mama means a healthy baby. It just does.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I mean, we hear it all the time. You can't pour from an empty cup because you can't.
You can't.
You cannot. So, yes, you fight for those kids. You are going to be that mama bear. You're going to be the best mama you can be, but you cannot be the best mama you can be without pouring into you and becoming the best you can be.
Absolutely.
Your kids see that. They learn how to take care of themselves by what we model to them. They learn what to do and what not to do.
And what not to do.
Yeah.
That is so good. That is so good. And I couldn't agree more. As somebody that does all that you do, that has found balance and that exudes what others see as excellence, what does Dr. Alicia personally define excellence as, both in medicine and in life?
And if I had to say what excellence is, excellence for me means giving of myself, giving my best, and realizing that my best is enough.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I'm enough. Whatever it was that I had to give, it's enough. And I've achieved excellence. And every day, that's my goal, is that I achieve excellence. And I'm able to do that in saying that whatever it is, I'm going to give it my best. And whatever my best is that day is good enough.
It's good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough.
I love that. This has been a great and an inspiring conversation. So where can our listeners connect with you and follow your work and even learn more about Miracles and Milestones and the multifaceted doc that you are?
Yes, I am on Instagram as The Multifaceted Mama Doc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Facebook, same name, and same name for the website. That is just me. That's how you find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Alicia. Thank you for all these pearls that you dropped, and thank you for the laughter, because I certainly did laugh a lot. Thank you for being here. And thank you everyone for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye.